United, together, here we stand. Sumana, Ashley, Felipe, your workplace wellness hour band, where culture meets health and wisdom takes hold. Fresh perspectives and insights unfold. Building stronger teams, brighter paths ahead. A workplace where passion and purpose are fed. Join us, engage and elevate your game. Wellness that works puts growth in the frame. Works puts growth in the frame. Mental clarity, physical strength, financial insight, tools and strategies that get it right. Real stories, real growth, real change that lasts. Practical guidance that moves you fast. Workplace wellness hour brings substance and spark. Together we flourish, together we make our mark. Building stronger teams, brighter paths ahead. A workplace where passion and purpose are fed. Join us, engage and elevate your game. Wellness that works puts growth in the frame. That works puts growth in the frame. So mark your calendar, answer the call. Workplace wellness, practical magic for all.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Workplace Wellness Hour. Today is Monday, February 2nd, 2026, Groundhog's Day. I don't know if you all believe in the groundhog, but apparently he saw a shadow, and we're going to have 6 more weeks of this winter. I don't know how you and Sumana, I know you have snow. Ashley, I don't think there's a lot of snow in Vegas.
No,
Tell me.
there's no snow in Calgary. There's zero snow in Calgary. Come on. I'm serious. We've had a pretty mild.
Are you serious?
I'm actually serious. It's been so mild. It's going to be really warm, and yeah, it's a weird winter, but it's very warm. There's no snow.
Well, we must have gotten all of it down here because here on the East Coast, especially in Maryland, and I know that Meryl, who's here listening in Jersey, and a lot of us here got a bunch of it. Down south, they got a snow bomb or something like that this past weekend. We missed that. We just had a cold. It's been below freezing for over 10 days, and it got below 10 degrees below freezing, or 10 degrees below zero yesterday. And so here's the thing. All the snow came in. We got about a good 8 inches, and then a couple of inches of freezing rain. And I'm just trying to freezing rain. Oh, sleet. And so now it's all frozen because it's been so cold. So they call it snowcrete, because if you hit it, it's like concrete. I can literally walk on top of the snow. My dog slides and slips like he's ice skating. It is insane. I've never seen so much frozen snow in one place, and we have mounds of it on our yard. I mean, if the kids were young, they would have a blast. And how warm is it for you in Vegas, Ashley?
It is a nice 70 degrees.
Oh, God.
I'm so sorry to say that. It's funny you mentioned snowcrete, Felipe. I was going to ask you about that. My brother's in DC, and he was telling me about it today, and I was going to ask if you've heard of that too.
Oh, it's all over the news. It's everywhere. Because they're saying it when you hit it, it is like concrete. It is just like if there's a big chunk on the ground, I hit it with my boot, I almost broke my toe. it was frozen that solid to the rest of the snow that you couldn't move it. Luckily, I did do my little trick that I did in the past of putting the tarp down ahead of time, and I did it on my driveway. I'm sorry, on my staircase and on my sidewalk. And as soon as it was done, I just pulled it all back, and it was just clean as could be, no effort. The driveway obviously was a little bit different, but here's the funny thing. I was telling Ashley and Sumana, I posted on LinkedIn, got great views, great comments. I think I went over 100 likes. I never post on Instagram. Now, Sumana has switched over to Instagram, and Ashley recently has left Instagram. I'm thinking maybe I need to post a little bit more on Instagram because I posted that same video on Instagram and it got over 1,500 likes and over 110,000 views. So I'm like, I'm too old to be doing another platform, but I just thought it was funny as crap that it got that much attention because it was relevant, right? So, but tell us what's going on with you all, and Simona, I know you are the one that picked out this topic of job hugging because you are our trend researcher. Um, Tell us a little bit about where you found this topic, and please, let's start some introductions too while we're at it.
Yes, no, let's get this party started. It's 6:08 in Calgary. Welcome everyone. I already see so many folks commenting, watching live from all over the world. So delighted to have you join us for our session. We're going to be live for about an hour, so join us and invite your friends. Please comment, keep those comments coming. I'm so happy to read all the comments. My name is Sumana Jetty. I am the founder and CEO of Jetty Wellness. We provide evidence-based consulting for employee well-being, as well as now very newly launched student well-being as well. So really excited about sort of branching into this new space of workforce readiness and career readiness for students. So I honestly just love working with students. So it's been such a pleasure to try that. And before I pass the mic to Ashley, I'll just say that this topic, listen, I read a lot. So I was reading a lot of just like articles, and I was thinking about my own sort of situation and a couple of people I had spoken to about just financial pressure and job loss, just all the things that are happening with the job market right now. And just happened to honestly just very by fluke happened to see this article on Forbes on job hugging. We didn't quite know what the term was when you're staying in a job where you're kind of in it because mainly for financial reasons, and you don't want to leave the job because, well, you can't find another one quickly. So there's a lot of people in my circle that I've been talking to who are in this exact scenario. So the terminology actually really helped cement this idea of why are we struggling? How do we get out of it? And I loved you, Felipe's five. Felipe, I think my perspective, when I do get to share a bit more, would be on kind of like what do we do as individuals? I think a lot of your strategies on kind of the leader and workplace level, so we can probably merge our ideas. So yeah, that's where that came from. And I obviously love keeping on top of things and trends, but also just these real life conversations on workplace and job challenges. So that's where this topic came from. So I'll pause there. I'll pass the mic over to Ashley to introduce herself, just some preliminary thoughts to get us started, and then we'll dive right into it. Over to you, Ashley.
Amazing. Thank you, Sumana. Hello, everyone. I'm super excited for this topic. I looked up the terminology because I was like, what in the world is job hugging? What does that mean? And I don't know if I would say pleasantly surprised, but it was interesting to read up on it and see that is the trendy name that we are giving this kind of sad circumstance. But I will introduce myself. I am Ashley Llewellyn. I'm an artist and the founder of Dear Imperfect Artist. And Dear Imperfect Artist is an online community where us creatives can gather, play, and share our knowledge with each other. Our collective goal is to reclaim our joy in making, develop our artistic confidence, and cultivate sustainable creative practices. So super excited to be here. And like I said, this topic is an interesting one to me. I think my main just kind of starting thought is I was really interested in how much of a flip we have made since the Great Resignation, just 5 short years ago, to now we're job hugging. And so, yeah, excited to talk about this with you. But I will pass back over to Felipe to get us going.
Well, thank you, Ashley. And yeah, definitely is a new term. But again, that's one of the great things that Sumana does is that she finds out the terminology. Somebody on the post wrote, "I've never heard of job hugging, but I've experienced this before. My past careers." And I replied back to her saying, "You know what? The concept and behavior is not new. It's just the younger generations do a great job of labeling it for us so we can put a name to it. And I think once you can put a name to it, you can start addressing it a little bit better. But before I forget, for those of you I have not had the pleasure of meeting, my name is Felipe Cofino. I'm an HR executive, a LinkedIn top voice, a children's book author, as well as a co-author of other books. And I am a passionate LinkedIn enthusiast and strategist who is here every other Monday with these wonderful co-hosts, along with other shows I do with Melissa Houston, which is Careers in Chaos and Coaching, and Mal Laupsher and the Social Saturday Chat team on Saturdays. And that's one of the things I love about this team here is that we're always finding ways to give back, different perspectives. You heard of Sumana, she's thinking from the employee perspective. I'm thinking from the leadership perspective. And I'm all about looking out for the employee and advocating for the employee, but I'm also all about holding the leaders accountable and helping out the leaders. There's so many leaders out there that have never gone through any proper training and gotten put in the positions because they did well in one role. And so sometimes we forget that they're humans too, and they need that guidance too. They don't know what they don't know sometimes. But before I forget, if you haven't had a chance to follow me on my YouTube channel, do that. But before that, here is my convenient consulting QR code. That is where I do offer HR services, compliance and auditing, as well as recruiting. You're looking for candidates to hire for your company. I'm the guy to help you find those great candidates for you. And then also career coaching as well, and training. I have a training for communication styles that I have coming up here for a bunch of managers in hospitality and in the country club that I'll be doing in about 2 weeks. So if any of those services resonate with you, or you think your leadership team or employees could use some of that training, reach out to me. Feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. And of course, if you want to check out some of the past things and past shows we've done here on the Workplace Wellness Hour, or some of the other shows I've done, or some of Felipe's 5, check out my YouTube channel if you wouldn't mind. I'm only, I think, 4 subscribers away from getting to 100. I would love to get to 100. So if you haven't subscribed yet, I would appreciate it. And I always welcome feedback. But with that being said, I do want to say hello to some of the amazing people that have already joined us in the chat here. And I'm going to share the chat here so that people can see. But I just want to say welcome to, we have everyone from Kenny who's here, William Rochelle. Thank you for being here. Peter, it's been a long time since I've seen you, my friend. Great to see you, another HR person. Leanna, it's always great to see you here as well. John Warner, you become a regular here, my friend. It's always wonderful to see you. And Sajith Kumar is in the house, another recruiter who just provides great insight, especially if you're working in Canada. And then we have Afoma. Thank you for coming. Gregory Liverpool, one of our regulars, another HR pro. We have Sadivi. I apologize if I mispronounced that. Welcome. Jeremy, it's great to see you, my friend. We all need to get together, guys. And when I say that, you all know who I'm talking about. Our little chat. We haven't had that chat in a while on a Friday night, so let's get that back on the schedule. And I'm going to chop up this name. I'm going to try. Is it Obianuju? I hope I pronounced that right. Welcome. It's great to see you here as well. And then Marcia Lee is here. Oh, Marcia, I need to get back to you. I promised you I would, and I haven't yet, but I will. And Charles Caldwell, thank you for coming. And let's see, I think somebody else joined here at the end. Forgive me 1 second here. Oh, Lisa Febeck, who's here, our wonderful women's health and menopause specialist. And Leanna, I think I said hello to you already. And I think that is it. All right. So with that being said, job hugging, the term itself sounds very obvious. Well, I shouldn't say that. Because if you compare it to tree hugging, I don't know if it's the same thing. Tree hugging, trying to save the trees. Job hugging, I guess you are trying to save the job. But I'm going to go over Felipe's 5 real quick because I want to get into Sumana and Ashley's perspective as well. So I'm going to go through these. Sumana and Ashley, just unmic and chime in if you have a comment to share about one of Felipe's 5 so that we can get to your all's perspective as well. I don't want to have it go too long here. And let's see if I can get the screen to change. There we go. Okay. So why employees stay when they're checked out? That's, and there are a lot of reasons for that. But today we're going to talk about job hugging. So the definition that I found was job hugging is when employees stay in roles they no longer enjoy or feel engaged in because economic uncertainty, benefits, or financial obligations make leaving too risky. And I think we all can understand that at some point sometimes where it's like, God, I wish I could leave this job right now, but I can't afford to. I have too many bills, I have too many responsibilities. So I think that's a fair understanding there. Let us know in the chat if you all have any other definitions there. Now, again, I'm talking about what can leaders do because we do talk about what you can do as an individual, and we have to take ownership. We have to, because no one's going to take care of us better than us. But these here are reminders for what leaders can do, because when employees stay for survival, not satisfaction, leadership matters more than ever. Because at the end of the day, you're not getting the best out of them. They're not providing the best performance or productivity, and it's affecting the culture negatively. So the first thing leaders can do real quick is create psychological safety. We talk about that all the time. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but normalizing honest conversations without fear of penalty. Don't pay the employees to worry by not sharing what's happening, because when you don't share, they fill in the blanks. And usually when they fill in the blanks, it's with really negative things that are probably worse than what's really happening. So what I recommend here is ask yourself about conversation trust. Have I invited honest feedback without consequences? Are people intimidated to approach you? I know that my title alone as HR is intimidating. If I don't recognize that, I'm already behind the 8 ball. So you have to recognize that sometimes your personality, your attitude, your approach, or your title can be intimidating. So make sure that you are inviting honest feedback in a safe atmosphere. And do your employees feel safe naming stress, uncertainty, or dissatisfaction? Do your employees come up to you and to the point where sometimes you wish, God, I wish they weren't so honest with me? If you say that, you are a good leader because they are not afraid to speak up. Sumana, Ashley, any comments before I go to the next one?
No, I'm okay. Thank you. We can keep going.
All right, I'm gonna go. All right, reduce uncertainty through clarity. So be transparent about priorities, expectations. Really, here's where it's simply are what you're doing for whatever change you're going through, whatever problems are happening, whatever stress is happening. Are the expectations, are the priorities clear? Or are they constantly shifting? If things are constantly shifting, it's like being on a rocky boat and having seasickness and expecting the person not to be seasick. You got to give them some stability and clarity, even if it's not good news. And have you explained why decisions are being made? Not just this is what I decided. When you explain the why behind the what, you get the buy-in, and they're willing to support your vision and what you're going through a lot more. The next one here, again, for leaders, is invest in growth. Richard Branson has a great quote. He says, train people so well that they leave you, treat them so well that they don't. And I love that quote because that is a legitimate fear that people have is, I don't want to train these people because if I train them too well, they're going to find a better job. Well, you know what? Make your place the better job by treating them well while they grow. So are they learning? Are they just enduring? Have you had a discussion about their career paths of what they want to learn, what they want to get exposed to? Have you pushed them? So these are things that leaders can do that are important. Number 4, address burnout before performance drops. We have talked about this on the show time and time again. You all can go back to some of the previous shows and see some of the great things, but at the end of the day, energy fuels engagement. So rest is not a reward, it's a requirement. You have to make time for that. You have to allow, and you have to lead by example. You got to let people know that, hey, I need to recharge. I need to rest to get the energy up so I can be 100% and be the best leader for you all. So look at yourself, but also look at the employees. Are their workloads realistic? Are their current demands, is it just for this week that you're asking a lot of them, or is it just there's no end in sight? Because that's going to just burn them out quicker than ever. If it's a week and you tell them, hey, I'm asking a lot for a week, we're all going to pitch in, but we're going to do it together, that's one thing. But when you don't give them any kind of end date, it really does burn them out. And do you need to model the boundaries and healthy behaviors? Like I said. All right. And then number 5, lead with empathy and accountability. Now we talk about leading with empathy a lot. I'm not going to go into that a whole lot because I think you all know how valuable being empathetic is. And as a leader, it's an expectation now of leaders when I hire them. If you don't have the ability to display empathy in the workplace, then you should not be a leader because you have to recognize what people are going through and also recognize it in yourself. But more importantly, accountability. And y'all, accountability is not a 4-letter word. Okay. Accountability is a good thing. It pushes you to do better, it pushes others to not get lazy. It is a good quality to have as a leader. And as an employee, you want to be held accountable. You want to, respectfully, of course. So compassion and standards can and must coexist. So what can leaders do? Are they leading with empathy without avoiding accountability? That's it. People sometimes do not like conflict. They'll be empathetic as hell, but when it comes to, but you need to do this, they tend to shy away from it. So you can't avoid accountability. And do the expectations feel human, fair, and achievable? So uh, the last thing I have here on the side is take action because consequences, if you don't, the people that stay because leaving feels unsafe, engagement will quietly erode and your culture will slowly die. All right. So, with that being said, Sumana, I'm going to hand it over to you to share your insights, and then we go to Ashley, and then we can invite people up on stage to let them ask any questions or share their experiences. So,
Wonderful. Thank you
over to
so
you.
much. I loved the Felipe's 5. I had a look. I reviewed them when you first shared your post, Felipe. So thank you for that. I just want to maybe start by like setting the stage a little bit and just recentering and maybe reminding our listeners on the conversation we had the week before last week on the career reset conversation. And there was one topic in particular, among other ones, that we wanted to bring back. And one of them was this shift in loyalty. We had briefly talked about it. Ashley and I were like, oh, we should bring it back. Felipe, you too. We should bring back this idea of why is there this shift in loyalty when it comes to employee loyalty in the workplace. We don't have automatic loyalty as we once did. We're starting to feel like, obviously because of all the things that are causing job hugging, and there isn't as much stability in the job market. It's so volatile that trust and loyalty seems to be declining. So the reason I'm saying that is because I think there's something there. And when I was thinking about this topic, the idea that was in my brain was, why are we losing trust, and why is there a shift in loyalty, and why are we starting to see that we're not going above and beyond anymore? We're just keeping our head down. We're doing the job that needs to be done. We're not even exploring other opportunities, and what are some of those implications for this job hugging phenomenon that's happening? So that I just wanted to set the stage and just remind everybody that this is kind of where originally I thought, well, why is this happening? And I think one of the reasons job hugging is happening is because of this lack of trust, or maybe not lack of trust. I would say maybe the decline in trust that we're seeing. And so job hugging, just like all the other trends that we've talked about in the past, becomes more of a, I think maybe more of a symptom because of a lot of this lack of trust. So from the individual perspective, because that's where I think I would like to maybe just share a couple of pieces without taking too much time here, just some strategic things that we can do if we're all experiencing it. And I know there's going to be some generational differences. I know there's some of us who want to stay in jobs because of financial reasons, because of whatever the reason is. But one thing that I I think this is just something we should obviously talk about again in another show, is one thing that we can do strategically if you are an individual that feels like, well, I'm kind of in this job hugging phenomenon, I feel stuck, I feel like I don't have any career progression, is really consider bringing back the agility in our career. And that can come from, you've heard me say this before, but that can come from learning. Micro credentials, upskilling and reskilling are some great ways to start to think about small things or small initiatives that you can do to prepare yourself for new opportunities. So you're not saying, well, I'm in this job hugging space and I just feel like I'm in it and I feel stuck. So we can maybe shift our mindset to say, you know what, I'm going to maybe consider doing some kind of upskilling or reskilling or side projects. We talked about it last time in the career reset conversation about stretch assignments or transition jobs that you can take just to expand that visibility if you're feeling that job hugging is negatively impacting your mental well-being, so that you can start to get some of those transferable skills, get that financial stability. So I'm always going to be an advocate for education. So that's just something from an individual perspective I think we can do. And I think another smaller thing that we can do, just because Felipe mentioned that burnout piece, and I don't want to talk to you more about that, but just recognizing that there is job demands and resources. And this is just the model that I've talked about a lot in the show. But if we can start to think about reframing this job hugging space as more of a resource building stage, while stability comes back, while these transferable skills are being put back in, while we're starting to bring more allies and networks and partnership into our space, and creating those intentional moments rather than just passively thinking that job hugging is happening, I'm in it, I feel stuck, that can start to derail our well-being. So from an individual perspective, those are the two things I think I'd love to have you think about among all the wonderful strategies that Felipe has given from the leader perspective and what the workplace can do. Those were just the two things. And again, just tying that all back to how do we really bring back, and maybe this is another larger discussion, guys, but how do we really bring back trust in the workplace so that we can start to remove this, because this is more of a symptom, right? So how do we remove this barrier to career growth, and start to take some of those risks? We want to be able to move to different jobs and try on different things, but we're not doing that in today's job market because we're so scared that we're going to lose that stability, whether it's financial, whether it's social, whether it's the commute that you like, the benefits. And I know I wanted to talk about that as well, but I'll put a pin on that for now. But even benefits are something that can prevent us from leaving our job, because maybe we don't want to lose the remote benefits that we have, because most of the newer jobs are leaning more towards return to office mandates. So I'll pause there. Lots to kind of chew on, and I know we want to bring some guests up on the stage. I'd love to hear from Ashley, kind of what came up to her, anything that she wants to share, and then we'll maybe have some people come up. Ashley, over to you.
Thank you, Sumana. I'm really glad that you kind of set the stage on thinking about job hugging, because when I was researching and reading articles and thinking about this topic, I was just so shocked by how many of these trends that we've seen in the last 4-5 years. The Great Resignation happened. We were job hopping to increase, our wages, and then it became quiet quitting, the lazy girl jobs, and now we're job hugging. And I feel like the unfortunate thing is that currently, for all of the reasons that Sumana and Felipe have spoken about, the job market really is in a bleak place, and people are applying and applying and applying, not hearing back, getting ghosted, interviewing a million times. And I could totally understand why holding on to what is secure and stable feels like the right option. And it does, given the kind of more macro factors, economic stress having to afford groceries, the cost of living, inflation, all of that. But I wanted to come in with a little bit more of like a, passionate artist's perspective, because much like that's a symptom, I do think that one of the implications is that we're now having to kind of hypothetically hold this would you rather of, would you rather have your job security or your job fulfillment? A lot of people are staying in jobs that maybe aren't as fulfilling because of that security aspect. And just really quickly, because I know that we want to get some guests up, but when thinking about that and like having to weigh that question as mobility falters, I just had this feeling of like despair. If we have to stay in our jobs and if our jobs are no longer the things that are fulfilling us, that is a bummer. That's if you're someone who gets a lot of fulfillment from your job. And so my main kind of sermon that I will give on the Mount is, if you find yourself in this position, my first point was the exact same as Sumana's, like learn while you're hugging your job, upskill, invest in your passions, invest in the things that really interest you and that you want to like move towards, because this job hugging time will not last forever. There will be another trend or another way that we're moving through our jobs coming in the future. And so now is the time to really invest in ourselves. My second point, please protect your energy, take care of yourself. And then lastly, of course, and this is kind of a repeat of upskilling, but this is more on the passion side. As I said last show, one of my favorite quotes that I read before jumping out and being an artist was, the job market is so bad, I might just start following my dreams. I will always live by that quote. And if you find yourself in the position, if you have the stability of a job, use some extra time to invest in your passions, because like I said, the other option is despair, and we do not want despair in our lives. We need to be creative. We need to be pushing our purpose. And those are my thoughts. I will pass back over to Felipe.
Well, I love that. Both of you have just great perspectives. I have gone ahead and put the link to join us on stage in the chat. And I also put in there some options for topics to cover for our next show. So please let us know. All you got to do is vote 1, 2, or 3. And we have about half hour left in the show. So feel free to join us or ask a question in the chat. Also, go ahead and repost the room. Let your network know that we're going on live so they can join the conversation and benefit from what you're hearing as well. Sumana, I love what you said, and that's why, the micro habits, I keep on bringing that up, because when you talk about upskilling, that's one of the things that I think people don't realize, is that they get so scared about upskilling that sometimes you just got to take a small step. There's no secret that my job is ending at the end of February due to just the mass layoffs that we've had to do and shrinking of the company. And it's unfortunate. Wonderful company. They're doing a going away thing for me on Wednesday. But here's the thing. When I'm looking for other jobs, I was looking at things. And one talked about a thing that talked about mergers. Having a lot of experience in mergers. Now, I've done mergers, but I have not done mergers recently. Well, instead of freaking out about it, I said, okay, well, let me just dig into it. Let me just do some work on ChatGPT. Let me do some Google research. And then I started realizing, okay, not much has changed. And I just started being curious. And I think that with job hugging, we get scared that there's nothing else out there. We have so much access to help us build new skills that we never had 10 years ago. So you're not stuck. You may feel like you're stuck and may feel more secure, but nothing stops you from looking and learning and growing. So I hope people are taking a lot from that, because I do think there's so much about loyalty that we can talk about and trust, but also what can you do? And get out of the why me and into the what now. And I love what you said, Ashley, about passionate artists that you are, because the would you rather scenario sucks. Sometimes it should be both, but trends do change, and that's why I think whatever people are going through, it's going to be temporary and things will get better. And guess what? They'll probably get worse again at some point. Um, but I will remind people your mental health is important. And as many grandmas out there have always told me, count your blessings before you tally your turmoils. All right. Because you have a lot to be grateful for. All right. So we have some people in the back here that I'm going to bring up on stage. We have, oh, sorry. Let's see here. We have, oh, good Lord. I am just not having fat fingers today. Let's try this again. All right. So we have Marcia Lee and we have Gregory Liverpool on stage here. So Marcia, our first and formal fan, thank you for joining us. It's always wonderful to see you here. And how are you bearing the winter sidewalks and snow and the snowcrete in DC?
It's coming. Yeah, I just went back in the office today, but I'm moving on. Samantha, thank you so much. I've been reading about y'all hugging several, maybe since last year before you posted this. And I've been talking about my little work situation for a couple of years since I've been on your platform. And Felipe, as soon as I saw it, I saved it. I sent it to HR, and that's why I got with you today because she said, "Let me know what his rate is because we need this." Yeah, so I'm
Whoa, whoa,
like,
whoa, whoa, wait. She said we need this.
I sent it to my colleague in HR. One of the few people I actually like this. She said because it. She said maybe they listen
That's a
to the outside people. Yes, and I sent it to my coworker, and I sent it to my one of my managers that work on the other side of the building. And I said, you pretty much do this. She's really good with her team. But she said, Miss Marcia, it ain't me. It's the leadership above me that I'm not getting support from. Yep. So you know what, Felipe, it came when it was supposed to come, but getting off that. Sumana, I like to thank you as always. So Sumana, you know what? I stay upscale because as y'all know, I spend a lot of time out of work, and when I'm not at work, I'm always somewhere else. I'm taking classes, seminars, trainings, things because I know I need to stay relevant and current in this climate. Even before this climate, I always kept my skills updated for for a very long time because I knew I had to. I did not want to get left behind. But Felipe, as soon as you start talking about AI a few years ago, you got me on my boyfriend train. So I've been on here like really strong. So I'm doing the AI series of trainings on the first Saturday of the month until April. So and that's been no calls and it's been filled. The whole room. It's been like standing room only because most people there really get it. So and I tell people all the time, don't wait until things happen to keep your skills updated. Keep your skills updated. So like my mother said, have a plan A, B, and C because so many people kind of get lost in that. So definitely keep your skill set upgraded. And Felipe, I have one more year before I turn 65. Then I can get Medicare. And then I can look at things a little different. We can laugh at that one. Thank you.
can I turn 65 next year? I want to join Medicare and retire, please.
Baby, you know what, we laughing, Felipe, but I can look at things just a tad different. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, and
Yeah.
Marcia, kudos to you for just having people in the right places. You have someone in HR that listens to you, and that's valuable because sometimes we don't get leadership to listen, and when you get that one person that does, it makes a difference. And I love that you are just going out there. You inspire me. You truly inspire me because every time I'm thinking like, should I learn this? I think about people like you, and you don't give up either. And that is something that you inspire people that you don't even realize you're doing just by being up here and telling your story every time you come up here. It really is an amazing thing. So I just want to thank you. I still owe you a message back, so I am gonna get back to you because I do want to talk to you about what we talked about last week. But I'm going to hand it over to Sumana and Ashley to share their thoughts. And then, Sumana, why don't you go ahead and introduce Gregory after you and Ashley are done?
Yeah, you bet. Marcia, it's such a pleasure to have you back on stage. And thank you for sharing the show and for just being yourself and continuously being such a big believer, a fan, a learner for work in Workplace Wellness Hour, but also in all the other domains of your life. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate you so much. And thank you also for just sharing, this idea of upskilling or reskilling or just getting any kind of those micro credentials. I think the where I was coming from with that from the individual level was just preventing that burnout, right? I think eventually Felipe did mention that at some point you're going to start to feel like, well, I'm job hugging, but I don't like my job, but I'm in it because I got to pay these bills and the mortgage and take care of my kids and my medical bills and all these other things. So the whole idea behind getting micro credentials or any kind of reskilling or upskilling is just so that you can eventually pivot, right? You want to be able to pivot to that new career. You want to be able to increase your options so that you're intentionally moving. So rather than thinking I'm stuck in this place, you're creating a long-term sort of plan. So this is just, again, if we can start to think about, and I've been on this new space of making corporate well-being strategic, so that it starts to make more sense, not just to business owners and leaders and workplaces, but also to us. If we can start thinking these are small strategic things I need to do, then our mindset, among with all the other things we talk about, we just are in a better position to be in control of our mind. So I appreciate your thoughts. Ashley, I'll pass it over to you. And then after that, you can pass it back to me and I'll introduce Gregory.
Sounds good. Thanks. Marcia, I wanted to highlight you mentioning the have a plan A, B, and C, and how upskilling and continuing to learn helps keep us relevant in this like ever shifting job market. My mom also gave me and my brother that exact same advice. And I think it just holds true. I mean, the more what relevant we're able to stay, the more skills that we acquire over time, it really does just continue to make us more and more attractive in this job market. So I appreciate that reminder. I think that it is just as timely as it ever has been and as it ever will continue to be. So I appreciated that.
Thank you.
And
One more thing
yeah.
before I forget, Ashley, is a minute. But you know what I do too? And people have asked me to be on different like advisory panels and all of that because health and well-being is my passion. So I'm on quite a few panels. I'm on quite a few like different advisory panels now, and they're paid. So I'm actually, making a little change doing that because that is my passion. And that's on purpose. That's to give me a chance to really enjoy what I'm really doing outside of the primary job. And it gives me a chance to be in the room with people that can make decisions and maybe help me expand and grow and transition out
Love
of what I'm
that.
doing.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Marcia. Welcome, everybody. Again, we have about 15 minutes of being live on Workplace Wellness Hour. We're talking about job hugging, which is the polar opposite of the job hopping trend, right? Where you're looking for other jobs. Maybe 1 to 3 years is a good time to when you start to plateau. You want to move to a different job. You want to pivot. We have more. We just feel like we're better energized to want to shift. But lately, and Sajid Kumar, you did post that Forbes article that I also read, that 75% of workers are staying put in their job. They don't want to leave their jobs. They're holding on to the market for dear life, and they don't want to replace their job. So that's the conversation for this evening. Thank you for all your comments. Gregory, nice to have you on stage. What are your thoughts? What's come up for you? Do you have any questions for us? Over to you.
Yeah, what's coming up for me? I am in a collective of other HR professionals with a podcast that we just launched last Thursday. So yeah, so everything is busy for me on the go, base in terms of being on this platform. In terms of job hugging, in my last position, I will think that definition fits the typical norm for me because I was in a job that I was basically checked out of because they were not giving me the respect and the trust factor in terms of being a good person on the retail sales floor but I was basically excelling above everybody else and everybody and performing with limited hours per se. And I will say that this can really do a damage and do a number in regards to your corresponding career and stuff. I think that we definitely need to talk about trust because, as people may know, I am neurodiverse. I am your HR canary in the coal mine, and I could basically sniff out trust, lack of trust, very, very easily and effectively miles and miles away. And I think that I think that we need to have basically um a talk about that because the human resources and the human dignity overall has basically vanished, and we were all basically touting human dignity and doing the motto of we quote unquote we're all in this together per se during COVID-19, during the pandemic per se. And I think that all basically evaporated when we were returning back to the office in regards to that nature in terms of the lack of trust issue, which basically which creates the job hugging phenomenon, because it's like, I will say, kind of like a dog eat dog type of world, and we are in that un unprofessional, unhuman like type of mentality. Is like basically like it's you're swimming in shark infested waters, and you don't want to be eaten by the shark, or else you're going to perish in a blaze of glory per se. So that's why I think, and we have to talk about that because it can have remitting effects for people who are neurodiverse in terms of that space, and that creates the burnout phenomena, which
Mm.
Felipe just did, and you could burn out mentally, physically, and spiritually and stuff. And it was, and if people want to know the details of it, I will tell it to them offline during a separate Zoom call or Google Meet if you dare to take the invitation per se. So thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I love that. Thank you for your perspective. Thank you for bringing up the element of psychological safety. I know you always bring up conversations around neurodiversity and just kind of linking all those pieces that we really need to strategize when we talk about job hugging, because there are so many different elements among the things we talk about, with trust being one of the root cause. While you were kind of speaking, Gregory, I was looking up one of our Jetty Wellness blogs that Jason Roeder, one of our ambassadors, had written about trust, because that seems to be kind of the factor that, for me, I know personally, that keeps coming up. And one thing he wrote, which is one of the strategies, was ask better questions as to what is making your team feel disengaged, and how do we kind of create that sense of checking in with them. So I started to think, well, we haven't really talked about it in this show, but maybe that's something to consider for job hugging. Is, sure, there's data that's out there from the study that Forbes did, but is there any particular way that we can even detect job hugging sooner in workplaces? So this is my data-driven brain that's saying, well, how do we start to like actually find out if there is this? How do we detect job hugging sooner? I guess that's kind of the question here. I
You
don't
know,
have I don't have the
Sumana,
answer to that, so I'll give it to
I
Felipe.
don't know.
that's
I
good.
don't know if it's humanly possible, because everybody, I will say, I will take a page of out of the page playbook of one Leslie Flowers, who is multiple podcast extraordinaire per se. But everybody has a different brain and stuff, and everybody has a different operating system, and it'll be virtually impossible to detect early job hugging tendencies and behaviors unless
Well,
you know that person very very well,
Maybe,
very
well,
very
maybe
well like the back of your hand, for the person.
I don't think it's impossible. So I think what the
Yeah,
issue
I don't think it's impossible. I think there's a way. Go ahead, Felipe.
yeah, because I think it goes back to having leaders who are emotionally intelligent, who can recognize the signs in it, and going back to building trust. I've been at places where the employers first go to when there had to be some cost savings. It wasn't cutting staff. It was how can we increase revenue? How can we cut expenses? How can we hold off on things? What can we do to, what can everyone do to pitch in? When you have that mindset that the first thing is staffing you cut, that's going to be your reputation. And that's going to be very hard to change. Those that don't have that as the mentality make a huge jump in the trust factor. Now, let's be honest. Right now, last Thursday, between six large companies, they laid off 61,650 employees last Thursday. These are companies like Nike, Dow, Amazon, UPS, Meta, and Pinterest. Okay, that's a lot of jobs. That doesn't even count the other jobs that they didn't mention in other companies. There's a reason why people are afraid. It's not, if you are job hugging right now, there's nothing wrong with it or wrong with you. It's understandable. What we're trying to get you to realize is that there are other opportunities. Like, Marcia said, you know, upskilling helps you find other opportunities. And that's one of the lessons that we want you to walk away from is just because you're job hugging doesn't mean you're stuck. It may feel like it, but it doesn't mean it. Ashley, before we go to Steven, did you want to share anything?
I don't. This is an interesting conversation. I mean, all I'll echo is I agree. I think that there are signs, but I've enjoyed hearing you guys with this, so I don't have anything to add.
All right. Well, Stephen Eng, our resident, LinkedIn friend, and also one of our part-time LinkedIn librarians who always brings such great culture and literature to us. So, Stephen, what are your thoughts on this topic? Over to you, my friend.
Good evening, everyone. It's been a very interesting conversation from what I've heard so far. So I just came on really quickly to share a little bit about what I've been up to these last few weeks. So, in a nutshell, I've experienced the opposite of what you guys would consider job hugging. I'm not in any state of power right now. Rather, from in my full time role, I was recently transferred to another business division within the same org. So I didn't lose my job. I'm just working under a different team slash different leadership now. And I'm about like this is my third weekend because I started on January 12th. And it's been a really interesting time for me because I was like in somewhat of a state of uncertainty for a while because my old company uh, was bought out and integrating with this with this bigger company like over the course of the past year and I had a lot of thoughts floating around my head and this recent transfer was is the culmination of all that. So one less thing for me to worry about, but um, it just kind of got me thinking. It was a reminder that like the time to upskill is now, even if you are breathing a sigh of relief from knowing that you're not losing your job. Like even in the weeks leading up to the transfer, I was already spending time learning the proprietary AI platform that was indigenously designed by the company that bought us out. Because I really wanted to start using it this year, and I thought I was going to have had the opportunity, and then this and then this transfer came along. But my point is that your efforts to upskill, if that's what you want to do, are never wasted, even if your circumstances change.
So well said, Stephen. And I'm so glad you brought this up because it reinforces what we've been saying, but also in a different perspective, because you brought up buyouts and mergers. I
Yeah.
talked about that I've gone through those in the past. I'm the one who's looking at the skills and competencies that people have, saying who has skills outside their normal job that's going to benefit the company the most, so we can
Mhm.
make sure that we are keeping the strongest people. And clearly, Stephen got transferred to a different area because he had skills that matched that area, and he was still valuable to the company. So that's just another example of how upskilling gives you more tools that people can choose you to help out if things change. I mean, things are going to be becoming obsolete as technology grows. That's just been the nature of things. People go from using, paper to digital, and now
Oh no, we
Oh,
lost Felipe. Ashley, do you want to add any comments since we haven't heard from you for a minute?
Yeah, sure. I wanted to touch on, Stephen, you mentioned AI, which I think is huge, especially right now. And while I was reading through articles about job hugging, AI driven anxiety is a top reason why we are job hugging. And it's because, we're worried that AI will like replace our jobs. And I think that the way that you went about it is really proactive, because the thing is that right now AI like needs human beings. And so taking the time to learn about it and, brush on our knowledge of AI is going to set us apart. And so I think that that
Mm.
was, yeah, I think that that was great. And that is all I'll say. And Felipe's back.
what was the last thing you heard me say? Did I talk at all or no?
I can't remember the last exact word you said. We did hear you.
I'll just recap it by saying that Stephen, you're brilliant as always, and I think having that
Thank you.
upskilling, having other skills make you more marketable, whether you're going through a buyout, a merger, or applying for a job, saying, oh, wait, they do this, but they also can do this and help out here. That's just, those are the things that people don't think about. And AI is a great tool right now. And people forget to put those things on their resume. And it's important. Hell, I forgot to put how much I do on LinkedIn on my resume. People are like, why aren't you promoting more about what you do? And I'm like, honestly, I was so focused on my day to day that I didn't think about the stuff that I do in the evenings and weekends. So, um, so thank you, Stephen, for that.
Of
Ashley,
course.
Swana, did you already speak? And if you didn't,
No, I
well,
think we're good. Let's just move on. It's already 7 o'clock, and I do want to
all
give
right.
Josh some time.
Josh
Yeah.
Cruz. Josh, thank you for coming up on stage. Welcome. Please introduce yourself and tell us your thoughts or questions on this topic. The mic is yours.
Yes, hello everyone. I hope you guys can hear me.
Loud and clear.
Excellent, awesome. Yeah, so yeah, thank you for doing this. First of all, um, I just came back to LinkedIn again, and I have been planning to come back about a couple of months ago. But I was sad when I saw that the feature LinkedIn had before, where like you can host an audio. I forget the term. You can host an audio and you can do like speak on the stage without having to go outside a third party link. So I'm happy to see that this is available now. Piggybacking to what I've heard so far in terms of like the job hugging. So I've been in the industry for BPO here in the Philippines for about more than 20 years now, and I've had my observations on some of the what do you call gaps within, right? That we think we would be able to address, and that's exactly it. Being able to um, like upskill. So any companies that are able to like provide you know you an option to be able to skill up is really going to be a huge help. It's really going to be, and I say a huge help. Gregory mentioned earlier about feeling that he's underappreciated. And we have a certain group of people that now built this virtual agency that felt the same way. Um, we were like outstanding talents due to politics, corporate politics. We were placed somewhere else where you're not getting the glory, but we're actually doing a good work because we're the first step in screening people that will be coming in um, to the company. Now, what we did instead of feeling sad about it is we kept ourselves engaged. We give each other's best practices and advice, and skilling up is one of the things that we were doing. Sadly, at some point, our group was disbanded, obviously due to budget constraints, and there's no longer a need to ramp up and get a lot of employees. So, of course, it's a very sad day for us, but it's also a very enlightening day because we're able to like we're able to then make a great leap forward to be able to build a virtual agency where we're able to transition all our current skills and be able to help as well, knowing the gaps that we found out that we think we'll be able to solve. And not just that, not just to have the financial freedom, but also to have like the ability to help other people.
Well, Josh, that was a brilliant share, and I love that how vulnerable you were about it because you're being very real. It is something that those situations are very hard to be in, but being able to see the light through the darkness, as I like to say, makes a big difference. You're what you're doing now might end up producing more jobs in the future, but it may not look like that today. And people, we gotta realize that those skills that they're learning, it's when you learn a new skill, it builds confidence. It makes you feel accomplished. You're more marketable, and these are things that are good for your mental health. They're good for your career health. They're good for your financial health. Um, it's sometimes though that fear that prevents us from doing things, and even sometimes our empathy. Sometimes we empathy and sympathy are two different things. Sympathy, you tend to get sucked into it with them, and it affects your decision making to the point where you might be more of a contributor to it than helping. So I'll get out of the psychology on that and hand it over to I'll hand it over to Ashley first this time, and then we'll go to Sumana, and then we'll get ready to wrap up. So Ashley, over to you.
For sure. Thank you, Felipe, and thank you, Josh, for sharing. Yeah, I just wanted to echo, Felipe's point that learning a new skill really it does build confidence and it has a lot of mental benefits, and whether that is a skill that is applicable to your current position or it's a skill that you can use later if you move teams or if you find a new position, learning a new skill will keep you relevant and make you feel good. It will make you feel good. And going back to my original share, just keeping in mind that the current state of the job market is temporary. Like it's temporary. It is not going to look like this forever. And so doing the things that we could do to keep ourselves feeling good and taking care of ourselves, I think is where we should put our focus. And I will pass over to Sumana.
Wonderful. I'll just share a couple final kind of comments here as we wrap up. Thank you, everyone who came up on stage. Gregory, Marcia, Stephen, Josh. Wonderful hearing from all of you. I think my only final comment here is that no matter what our reason is to job hug, it is if it is the trust issue, if it is the financial issue, if it is that it's my job, I've plateaued in my job, and I just don't want to look for another job right now. I'm feeling too burned out to even want to look for a job. Whatever your reason is to stay in the current position that you're in, my only recommendation here would be to uh, to consider, like Ashley said, this isn't a permanent state. And if you can use LinkedIn, if you can use some of our reskilling, upskilling strategies to bring in your passion projects that can earn you some extra money, I think that I know is very important. Multiple streams of income. We were talking about stacking all our habits, but we can also stack all of our skills. I learned that a few weeks ago through a conversation I had with someone else. Stack your skills, make yourself strategically position yourself so that you can have multiple streams of income, so that even if the bar is too high in this moment in time because of economic uncertainty and the job market and all that stuff, even if the bar is too high to switch, there's still other things that you can do. And I think that's where I'll end today's conversation. It's been fantastic hearing from everyone. The comments are blowing up. This is the second time in a row that we've had so many, over 200 or 200, almost 300 comments. This is the second time in a row we've had that. So I'm really delighted to have so much engagement. And I'll pass it to Felipe for some final thoughts, and then we'll wrap up here. Over to you, Felipe.
Well, thank you, Sumana, and thank you, everyone. Yeah, the comments are blowing up. It's great to see so many people like Gabe and Melissa Houston and Kenny and all the people that we were talking about earlier. And thank you for watching us on YouTube as well, because we are streaming on YouTube as well as LinkedIn and even on Facebook, but I don't think anybody watches us there, to be honest. But, I think the last advice that Sumana gave was brilliant, as well as Ashley, is remember that, doing some kind of upskilling and also finding something that brings you joy in your job. And I'll give you an example. I have a big, oops, sorry about that. I have a passion of photography. That passion of photography, I would take pictures at work all the time of events. I'd share it with marketing, or as HR, I'd share it with the employees. And then I started using that. And that taught me about employment branding, because I started sharing it on LinkedIn and sharing about things that we did in the workplace. And I started taking pictures and videos. I love videos. I found those two things, and they tied me into other things at work. Now, I love recruiting. I love to be able to do those videos and pictures to recruit talent and brand the workplace. But when we don't have a lot of jobs, I can't do that. And I got to do all the other things in my job that maybe don't bring me as much joy. That part, if you're feeling like you're job hugging, find that one thing that you enjoy, and just and make sure that you remember that you have that. And if you can bring other talents that you enjoy doing into the workplace to help, even if it's not more money at first, try it, because mentally it's going to help you feel a little bit more positive about the workplace, and you won't feel as much like you're hugging and holding on to a job that you can't leave. But don't forget, you are not stuck. There are things that you can do. So let us know if you think that this is a topic that we should continue talking about. Let us know if you'd like the topics that we put earlier in the chat. Put A, B, or C for the choices that we talked about. A was about bringing trust back to the workplace. B was about is loyalty changing for companies. And C was about micro habits and upskilling, which would be a little bit of a continuation of this conversation here. So with that being said, we are 10 minutes over, and I want to give everyone a chance to give their final farewell and what they have coming up. So Sumana and Ashley, I'll start with you, Ashley. What do you have coming up, and any final thoughts?
No final thoughts other than that this was yet again another amazing show. I love getting to learn from everybody and getting to hear everyone's different perspectives on these topics. And as far as what I have coming up, on Sundays, we have our maker space, A Moment to Make, online. And other than that, I'm just making art and trying to figure out how to, grow Dear Imperfect Artist along with my partners. So you will be hearing more things from me in the future. But right now, just focusing on A Moment to Make every week. And I'll pass over to Sumana.
Oh, thank you, Ashley. I can't wait to see more, hear more, follow your journey some more. This has just been such a Great episode. Thank you for all your comments and engagement, everybody who was listening and watching us live. There's a new blog. It's February, so first blog of February is coming up on Wednesday, the first Wednesday of every month. And this one is all about mental health and well-being and some strategies, some things that you may have seen before, some new things that we want to bring in. This is a good time to kind of do a check-in about your mental health. February, so that's the theme of the month. And then the following Wednesday after that, I do a 15-minute reskill micro learning session on some of the core components of the blog. So that's just something new that I've started. So the blog comes out on Wednesday, and then the following Wednesday, I do a 15-minute LinkedIn Live. No more, no less. It's a very short episode. You blink and you miss it. That's how that one goes. And then all the ambassadors that have joined are also going to be sharing all their wonderful posts and insights. It's been very active in the Jetty wellness space, and I'm very happy about that. So maybe just one other individual, maybe one or two more individuals joining us this month, and then I might just put a pause on the ambassadorship. But thank you for listening. Felipe, I'd love to hear what's coming up for you. Thank you for hosting us, Felipe, as well.
Well, thank you very much, Sumana and Ashley. It's always a pleasure to co-host with you two. You all bring such wealth of knowledge and just wonderful perspectives, as well as all of you that came up on stage and in the chat. This show would not be what it is without you all. So thank you so much for being there for us, supporting us, and engaging with us, because the questions you all bring up are valid. And I hope that we answered most of them. If not, we'd like to go through the comments afterwards. It might be tomorrow, and respond back to you there. But thank you again for voting. Thank you again for coming. If you haven't checked out Continue Consulting, if you know of anybody that's complaining about not finding candidates or complaining about not being able to find somebody that can do good training for their leadership, tell them to check out Continue Consulting. I can help them. And as always, I will ask and continue to ask, if you haven't done this yet, I would consider it a great favor if you would follow and subscribe to my YouTube channel. That is where I house all the Workplace Wellness Hour podcast shows that we do, as well as Careers, Chaos, and Coaching that I do with Melissa Houston every other Sunday, and that's coming up next Sunday, and as well as the Social Saturday chat that we do every Saturday. Also, I house the Future Ready Voices, which I will be doing shortly with Alex Aisley, who's the managing partner of a retirement firm here in DC, talking about the future of work, about retirement, about what employers can do and what employees can do. And I'm not talking about people who are about to retire. I'm talking about Gen Z and millennials and everybody. So keep an eye out for that. And other than that, I look forward to be here with these two again in 2 weeks. And we got our votes in for some of the show topics, so we will look at those. And thank you again, Sumana and Ashley, for just being amazing co-hosts, amazing friends, and amazing people. And to all of you out there, as I always tell myself, remember to be confident in who you are and what you know. Be curious about what you don't know and learn it. Be grateful, be compassionate, and be tenacious, because you got this.
You too, Felipe. I'm in your corner. I'm always supporting you, and you, Ashley. And I can't wait to come back in 2 weeks and maybe talk about trust. Have a wonderful night, everyone.
Woohoo! Adios,
Likewise,
everyone.
take care, everybody.
Bye.
Adios.
United together.